you are a researcher as well. First of all, I want you to react to your colleagues' research, and then I'll ask you to give me the basis for your own research too.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sanda, and hi to everybody on the panel. Yeah, Dr. Edu, Dr. Duya,
yes.
I like it when people are able to, as researchers, I like it when people are able to do work and then justify it. And I think by and large he has. He's gone through his parameters, he's gone through the models, and he's given the framework, he's told us the sampling process and everything. And it makes sense, so kudos to him.
Thank you so much.
It makes sense. Yeah, kudos to him. So he's justified, because otherwise you don't come and do it based on your own personal parameters. I mean, he's been able to establish a framework, and I think that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about your own work. So when did you start your work? What did you set out to do?
Sure. So, a lot of the research that came out in the run-up to this election was based on public opinion. So, and that's what a lot of us are used to, the polls, the surveys, and all of that. And we have a number of them: Global Info Analytics, Dr. Duya's research, and others, which is fine because polling is a major feature of any electoral process. But one major gap that we found out was that there wasn't any existing research that looked at media coverage of the elections. But we all agree that the media is such a central agent in any development field, whether it's social, healthcare, or whatever. People depend on the media for information and so many other things. And in an election, it's also very important. So you find out that globally, many democracies, one of the things that researchers do is to be able to monitor the media, to examine the media, or at least assess media coverage of it, just because a lot of people depend on the media for information. And in a presidential primary, the same thing happens, except that in this primary, they are delegates. But the delegates are still voters, and they are spread across the nation. So the media becomes one way they can learn about the background of candidates, their records, their character, their position, their ideas. There are other ways they can learn by, but of course the media is one. And the public, it's also important for the public too, because whoever is elected eventually is going to put himself up for president. So the political education process, the civic education process starts from now. And ChannelOne, City, all the media participate in this particular process. So the gap then was that there was no existing research that was examining how the media covered the candidates. And so we decided to come in to do that, to examine it.
Okay, so when you say we, are you with a group or you did this alone?
So this is the Center for Public Discourse Analysis. But then I often...
Are you politically affiliated?
No, we're not. Yes. But
and
then
you as a person?
No, I'm not.
You're not,
yes.
Okay. So you didn't do this for UNIMAC, you did this as a
for the CPDA,
for CPDA.
Yes.
Okay.
But then of course I try to give the students the opportunity to participate.
So he has given me his duration, started from August, right? Dr. Duya started from August.
Yeah, from August. Yeah.
When did you start yours? Did you do various waves or just did one block?
Yeah, we did one block, but then we looked at the media analysis from August as well, all the way till January. But it was just, we just went in, we took the websites, we did a keyword search, and then all the stories came up. And then
okay, so you didn't go to interview people, did you?
No, we didn't. It was a content analysis of media reportage.
Okay, qualitative. Is that what you call qualitative?
Yeah, well, it was content analysis can be qualitative or quantitative.
So content analysis of what? You used newspapers or what did you use?
Yes, so we used online websites. We used about 7 of them. Of course, City Newsroom Online, GBC Online, 3 News, My Joy Online, Peace FM, Graphic Online, and then Metro TV.
And you looked out for what? What are the key things you looked out for?
Right. So there are about 4 or 5 variables that we looked out for, maybe more than that. But we started with the tone.
The tone of the candidate?
No, the tone of the media coverage.
Okay.
Okay. The tone of the media coverage. We also looked at the subject matter. What are the things they were covering? Is it political? Was it health? Was it social? We also looked at the function. That's what we call the functions of political communication. So from the candidate side, what were the functions of political communication? And we also looked at the story frames. And finally, we looked at the personal attributes. So when we talk about the functions of political communication, basically what we are looking out for over there is that, well, let me talk about the type of frames. The type of frames would be, so there were 4 indicators under it, 5 indicators. The polling frame or the horse race frame, the political strategy frame, the financial frame, the personality frame, and the issue frame. And that is because there's a concern among people who observe the media that a lot of times there is an overwhelming coverage on polling, which is the horse race coverage. And when that happens, it is to the detriment of issue-based reportage. Yes, so, and it's a major problem even in the US or advanced democracies. So you have people from Thomas Patterson from Harvard University and the Pew Research Center for Excellence in Journalism doing work to track media coverage based on this particular problem. And so this particular work was modeled on the Pew Research Center for Excellence in Journalism and Thomas Patterson, a Harvard University professor, the previous work that they did.
So would it be fair to say that your research was reflecting media coverage of the race?
Yes.
Now, what would you find, or what's the end game? So you want to find who got the most coverage or who got the most mention, which then means that they would lead the race. How do you interpret it? Because he asked people questions. 100,000 people, 70,000 said they'll vote for Kennedy. It's simple, I understand it.
Yes.
How should I understand yours?
Yes, so you can understand it within the wider context of democratic development in Ghana. Because whilst the polls or the surveys have a particular role to play, which is to capture people's opinions at a particular, this one has a completely different role to play, but equally important, which is to assess what the media is doing. Now, if you contextualize it, the thing is that media coverage also does a lot to the candidates. It can boost their exposure. It can bestow some form of credibility on them. It could enhance their electability quotient. It can also contribute to a candidate's overall standing within the wider public. And so because of that, then it influences delegates or voter perceptions about their evaluation of the candidates, their values, their ideals, their positions, as is reflected in the media. Because you also want to look for a candidate who is going to do well later on in the wider election. So based on public perception or the public image or framing of the candidate, it fits into the choices they make. And an important agent in the crafting of this public image or this public perception then is the media.
So what if someone owns a media conglomerate and they always get a mention, or they buy the media and they always get a mention? You may unjustifiably put them up there as the ones or the one who is getting the most clicks and the most views.
Right.
And this may be artificial, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. And that is why when you are selecting the media that you'll be analyzing, you have to make sure that there's what they call in the research literature newspapers of record or media of record. That is media that people generally agree that, well, you may have your own thoughts about the affiliation, but the output that they have generally
professional.
Yeah, it's
so you didn't choose partisan media?
No, we did not.
You deliberately didn't choose partisan media? Okay.
Yes.
Now, what are the takeaways from your research finding?
Right. So the takeaway from our research, in terms of the first one, the tone of coverage, is that the tone was largely neutral. When you look at Dr. Baumia, for instance, specifically, out of 236 items examined, his tone was about 93.28% neutral. The same for Kennedy. Even for Kennedy, I think it's a bit higher at around the same thing, 92.59. So the takeaway is that our Ghanaian media is getting largely professional. There's a certain level of stability in terms of media coverage from the volatility 92 that we came up. And also, what it also means is that the candidates were fairly treated. Now, the other takeaway from there, though both of them had largely positive coverage, the person who registered the highest negative coverage, or there was a certain amount of negative mention over there, actually happened to be Dr. Baumia. That was at 2.31%. And then
when negative coverage means he said something negative and it was captured, or someone said something negative about him which was captured?
That somebody said something negative about him and it was captured.
So he was a victim of attacks?
Yes.
So he was the victim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Did you measure key characters of the persons, like their competence, their attitude? Did you measure that too?
Yes, we did measure key characters of them because delegates or voters also look at personal attributes and character of the candidates in order to vote. And it can be from personal encounters, it can be from media constructions of the candidate and all others. So, and personal character attributes are important because a lot of past researchers have said that most voters or most delegates view the presidency as a huge pressure valve. It's a very, pressure intense place. And so the character of the person who occupies the seat is very, very important. The character attributes that we measured were also based on the Pew Research Center's indicators that they used. So there's humility, there's empathy or compassion, intelligence, honesty or trustworthy, unifier, hardworking, civil or decent, and then competence,
Competence is exciting. I like humility as well. Now, did you find the most humble of the candidates and the most competent of the candidates, or is that how you found it?
Yes.
So who was the most humble?
Yes, based on the media reflection. Yes. So when it comes to humility, Dr. Baumia was at 46.15%.
So I think I have that on the screen.
Kennedy Ejipong was at 7.69%. So this for humility.
Wait, so this have competence.
Oh, I'm sorry,
on the screen.
competence.
So
Okay.
You speak to the one on the screen.
Okay.
So competence on the screen.
Okay.
You have Dr.
Competence. Yes.
So 48% for Dr. Baumia.
Yes, please.
35% for Ken.
Yes.
8.9 for Brian. 5.4 for Edichum and 1.8 for Kwabna.
Yes.
Ejapon. This means that if it comes to competence, the publications give 48%.
Yes. Most of the coverage. When the personal character attribute coverage of the candidates seems to reflect this percentage in terms of the competence.
Okay. And in terms of humility, which you were going to talk to us about.
Yes.
What did you find?
Yes, so for humility, again, the media constructions, for Baumia was at 46.15%, Kennedy Ejipong 7.69%, Brian Echampong 23.08%, and surprisingly, Dr. Edichum also 23.08%.
So I cannot ask you from this who is going to win today's elections.
No, sir.
You don't have that?
No, sir.
Okay. Dr. Dia, is there a comment